What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have a 3-game NBA slate tonight. The only good game on the slate, in my opinion, is really the Spurs versus the Pistons. And let me tell you guys, I have a plethora of picks for this Spurs versus Pistons game. I mean, I have 4 plays from that game by itself. I'm giving you guys 6 plays tonight or today. We're going to actually lock in some slips live again. Obviously, we know how we do that in every single video, but I just wanted to let you guys know it is going to be a shorter video, but there's going to be a lot more picks in this one. So make sure you guys stick around for that if you are interested in it. Taking a look at yesterday's free picks. So we had 2 slips yesterday. I gave this slip away and I gave this slip away. 1 cashed, 1 chalked. Now, let's talk about the one that chalked, because we had Kevin Porter. He cashed his points easily. We had Towns. Towns' rebounds was very, very sweaty. I honestly thought he was going to chalk. That's why you don't pre-chalk plays, because in the third quarter, Towns had like 6 boards. So I really didn't think he was going to go over, but he come out and he got the rebounds for us. The other game, Harden, 8 assists, was a little bit sweaty. The Cavs sold the ladder challenge yesterday. We'll be running it back here soon. Maybe not on this slate, but maybe I run it on this slate too. But Harden cashed us. Michael Porter Jr., MPJ, our wagon has fallen off. He fell off the wagon. He is no longer a wagon. This Nets team is tanking too much. I'm pretty sure, like, it was kind of some intentional things going on there. Like, Nets kept it very close with the Hawks. Were winning, and then they just fall off. Just fall off. MPJ takes no shots. He had 18 points in the third quarter. Easy cash. I thought that was free. I thought this was going to be the free slip. I was sweating this one more than this one. So I thought that was a free slip. Unfortunately, Porter Jr. didn't take another shot in the fourth quarter, didn't score a bucket, and, they ended up chalking us. So very unlucky on that one. We did have this Concanupple and Boyd play over on Sleeper, and then I played the Raptors money line as well as the Lakers money line. So I ended up splitting my 2 money lines. Those were the only money lines I ran last night, was Raptors and Lakers. Lakers were plus money, so I lost about $100 yesterday on my money lines. But let's talk about prize picks, because we now have baseball spring training. So MLB spring training is on Prize Picks. Here's what we ran. So we gave 5 picks yesterday for MLB spring training. There was a paragraph with this slip that was stated, going to mix and match these plays in 2-man combinations. Obviously, not going to post 10 2-man slips for MLB spring training, because spring training is very, very volatile. So mix and match these in tons of different combinations, and this is what we ended up with. So we ended up with 7 slips cashing from 2-mans, tons of wins. Keller and Gill right here, 100 for 200. Keller and Alcantara, 1 for 210. Gill and Alcantara, 100 for 190. Here's a 3-man with Keller, Alcantara, and Severino, who cashed. You can see all of them. I don't have to go through all these plays, but a very good day yesterday on Prize Picks, especially if you didn't mix and match those plays. So that being said, if you guys do want to join the Discord is free to join. Like I said, we're going to be running back the ladder challenge either today or tomorrow. We'll be posting plays on that on our Instagram as well. So if you're not following the Instagram, go follow it. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. It is free. If you want to get all the VIP plays, including these slips right here, then just go join our WAP. WAP link is down in the description. $10 a week or $25 a month. Code NBA gets you 20% off. I will be running a promo for MLB as well. MLB will be another 20% off most likely. I might do 25% for MLB just to start it for the first week. So make sure you guys are keeping an eye out for that. It's going to be coming around shortly. Let's go ahead and pick a winner from yesterday's video for free VIP. So you guys know that I kind of changed up the way I'm doing free VIP now. So now in every video, I'm going to be asking a question somewhere throughout the video. You answer that question down in the comments and you're eligible to win. Now, this may not stay permanently. You can see we had 143 comments yesterday. A lot of times we get 200 or 300. Like, honestly, we get a lot of comments. And me doing this is helping you guys have a higher chance to win if you're actually willing to stick around for the question. But it's also making it a little bit more annoying for the ones who don't want to do that. And I'm trying to be nice by giving away free VIP every day. But run the likes up. Today, if we get 250 likes on this video, I'll pick a random comment to win free VIP. That comment has to be an answer to yesterday's question. So yesterday's question was, what is your favorite money line on the slate? We're going to pick a comment. If the comment is not answering that question, we're going to re-roll it. So just throwing it out there. That's the rule right now. So let's go ahead and pick the comment winner. Had to mix it up a little bit for the algorithm. Greg Smith, he said, feel strong with the Hawks against the Nets. Nets are hard to bet on. So, I mean, right here, I would assume that he's answering that question. So, Greg, send me a message on Discord. I'll get you added for that free month of VIP. I do appreciate the love and support from every single one of you guys. For real, it means a lot. And I don't get very many hate comments anymore. I used to get a lot of them, where I'd get 5 or 6 per video. And I don't really get that anymore. And I'm really appreciative of that. So, thank you guys for being kind in the comments. Not that it doesn't bother me too much, but sometimes a comment will get under my skin. But Greg, like once again, send me a message on Discord. Hawks were a strong pick yesterday. Hope you played them, made some money. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this slate for today. So like I said, guys, lots of picks for this Spurs-Pistons game, and then we'll lock in some slips. So the first game on the slate, Spurs and the Pistons. Right now, Detroit, minus 106 at home, 1.5 spread, 232.5 total. So a pretty fast-paced game, and two teams that have a 1.5 point spread. So this game, 100% coin flip. 100% coin flip. If you think that you have some incredible edge on this, you are incorrect. I can promise you. Unless you find good value somewhere, you're not going to get some huge edge on this one. It's hard not to bet on the Spurs for plus money. It's hard to bet against the Pistons at home. So you got two opportunities here, and you just have to flip your coin and trust your gut and hope that you picked right. So Pistons right now, most of the money is going to be on the other side. So you have 67% of the money on the Spurs money line, as well as 55% on Pistons covering a 1.5 point spread. So most of the bets and most of the money going to be on the Pistons winning by a bucket. Whereas on the money line, a lot of people are on the Spurs, and the main reason for that is going to be where the odds are. People are playing the odds. You got Detroit minus 1.5. If Detroit wins, what are the odds it stays within a point? You got to understand that as well. Pretty slim chance that it stays within a point. Most games, I mean, you're going to get some games where, yeah, it's a 1 point game. Maybe it goes to overtime, whatever. But this game could be a 3 or 4 point game. It really can. So right here, Detroit for plus money, minus 1.5 is a good play, as well as Spurs money line for plus 108. You got two very good plays right there, in my opinion. Looking at the total is 232.5. Most of the money going on the over. I don't know how I feel about the over. I do think that it could potentially be high scoring, but you got two strong defensive teams as well, so it's hard for me to want to bet the over at that number. Looking at the two teams as of lately, you have the Spurs team who has won 8 straight games. They beat the Kings and the Suns in their 2 games back since the break. You look at the Pistons. The Pistons have won, 8 of their last 9 games, and they're coming off of 2 wins as well since the break, beating the Knicks in New York and then beating the Bulls in Chicago. So 2 strong wins for them, or 2 pretty decent wins. Whereas for the Spurs, they had a blowout win versus Phoenix, which is a good win. Kings, not so strong of a team, so I don't really consider that a strong win, but really how strong are the Bulls either. So pretty much one good win since the break. Both teams playing good basketball. Both teams are going to make it to the playoffs, and this is a playoff-style game that we're going to have tonight. In terms of injuries, on the Spurs side, we have David Jones-Garcia, who is obviously out for the season, Mason Plumlee out, and then Lindy Waters is going to be questionable, so maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. I don't think he's going to be the main piece that causes the Spurs to win if he does play, so I'm not too worried about that injury. Looking at Detroit, they're missing Isaiah Stewart. So Isaiah Stewart is a good piece for this Pistons team that they're missing. He's out for suspension. Obviously, they got in a fight in that Hornets matchup, which is a very competitive game. But yeah, that's a big piece going for Detroit. But other than that, both teams fully healthy. Both teams starting 5 looking good. Jalen Duren back to playing pretty decent minutes. In terms of player props for this game, it gets a little fishy, man. It gets a little tough because when you look at Cade, you got Cade who's, majority of times going to be the lead scorer for Detroit. Obviously, Duren can pop off some games. Some of the other role players can. Tobias Harris can have his games as well. Cade Cunningham is most likely going to have Fox on him. Fox is a good defender. You can say what you want about Fox. He plays good defense. If Cade makes a lot of buckets, it's going to be defended shots, and he just had a really good game. So Cunningham's not really one of the pieces I'm looking for unless I'm looking at assists. I don't really trust taking his scoring tonight. I don't trust taking Fox any day on scoring. So kind of marks those two out in terms of what I'm looking at, unless you run with assists. When you look at Castle and then you look at Robinson, Castle, I'm okay with playing. Robinson, I don't really bet on too often. He's just not one of my go-to guys. So I like Castle. There's some plays for Castle, which we'll go over here in just a minute. I don't trust Ulster Thompson or Almond Thompson anymore. They started out strong in some games earlier this season, and then they just kind of fell off for me in player props, so I don't really play with them. Vassell's minutes are pretty low right now. Vassell's getting around 23, 24 minutes per game. Not enough minutes for some of his lines for me to want to play him. Honestly, Vassell at 11.5 points, I kind of want to run the under. I'm not saying I'm going to, but his point line's 11.5, and I don't think under is a bad bet on that one either. I like Tobias Harris tonight. I like Champagnie tonight, and then you got Wemby and Duren. This matchup can go either way. These are two players. You got 7-foot monsters who, like, some games get 15 rebounds and some games get 4. So it's hard for me to want to play these against each other. It's just a tough matchup. So really looking at some of the more role players in this game, looking at Tobias Harris a lot, looking at Champagnie, looking at Castle. In terms of picking a winner for this game, it's tough, man. I'm not gonna give you a guaranteed answer, and my answer could I'm gonna tell you what I think, And then my answer can completely change in the next couple hours because I'm going to sit on this one. That's okay, pause. I'm going to think about this play and wait until later to place my bet. So right now, I want to run the Spurs money line for plus money. That's just something's telling me to take it. And I don't like betting against the Pistons. The Pistons are a really strong team, but I'm wanting to run the Spurs plus money. Plus 108 odds is what it showed on, I think it was Kalshi or Novig, one of the two. So I'm looking at that. Don't know that that's what I'm going to lock in. I may end up running Detroit. That minus 1.5 line for Detroit doesn't seem bad either, so I may run that one. So we'll see. That's what I'm looking at right now. If you like that play, you can lock it in. If you want to wait and you're in the Discord, I mean, obviously, if you're in the Discord, just wait to see what I post. If you're telling me, if you want to go the opposite side of me, go for it. If you're somebody that's just for the free picks, as of right now, it's going to be the Spurs, and that's just what I'm going to take on the road. You look at the Spurs on the road, 64% win. You look at the Pistons, 78% of games they've won at home. So Pistons obviously a very strong home team. Spurs a little bit weaker on the road. So if you look at it that way, you could lean the other side. Head-to-head data, Detroit beat the Spurs last year. They haven't played any this year, so there's not really any games. So the Detroit had the Spurs number last year. So you look at it that way too. You may lean the Spurs or may lean Detroit on that one. So you can take that data, do what you want with it. Let's talk about some player props for this game. So the first player prop that I really want to talk about this game is going to be for our man Stephon Castle. So I like Castle for 11.5 points. This is a line that I think is a very safe line. The odds on it right now are around minus 265. So if you can't straight bet it 100%, you're going to be running this in a parlay on something like Parlay Play. So quick disclaimer right now, if you guys do want to sign up for Parlay Play, use code Fantasy Aces. You get $5 for free and you get a $100 deposit match. Plus you get free VIP. Any of the apps down in the description, if you sign up for them, you get a free month of our VIP. So 7 apps down there: Underdog, Parlay Play, Sleeper, Novig, Dabble, Better, and Chalkboard. Any of those get you a free month. Let me know if you sign up. We'd love to have you in the cord. But we're going to pull our man Castle up right now for 11.5 points. It's a 1.26x, and I'm giving 4 picks from this one game. So we can mix and match these to make double up. So let's talk about it. And I'm pretty sure Castle was a 1.3x a minute ago. So I'm pretty sure since I hovered it, it got taken down a little bit. But it is what it is. So I don't dislike Castle at 15 points. I'm going to talk about that. But I think 11.5 is a much safer line, and I think 15 is very, very sweaty. When you look at his last 10 games, he's averaging 15.7 points, which is over that 15 mark. He's getting around 24 minutes per game, so you got to understand he's been dealing with injuries as well. He's playing about 24.5 minutes his last game. I'm expecting 25 to 26 minutes tonight. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they give him full allotment of minutes. They give him 30-plus minutes, and the dude's going to be a 11.5 or 14.5 is going to be free, in my opinion. But look at him right now. He's getting around 9 to 10 shots per game. 9 to 10 shots per game, unless you're shooting very, very well. 15 points is really, really hard to hit. And he's averaging around 3 3-point attempts or 2.3 3-point attempts over his last 10 as well. So paying attention to where his minutes are is the main thing right now. If you want to run Castle for points, I don't think that's a bad play, and that's why it's on my list of targeted plays. He's hit it very consistently this year, and he's hit it both games versus Detroit at 11.5. So that was the first pick that I was really looking at. The second pick I was looking at, we're going to run, is going to be for our man Champagne. So let's pull up our man Julian Champagne. This is a player that there's about 3 picks that I like for him. So let's talk about him. We're going to talk about you can play these based off of how lucky you're feeling. So I like his rebounds. I like his rebounds and assists, and I don't mind taking his assists. So let's look at his rebounds first, because rebounds is probably going to be one of the better plays. I like his rebounds at 3.5 boards. So Champagne for 3.5 rebounds, 4 rebounds is what you need to cash. He's cashed that line 77% of games this season. He's averaging right at 6 rebounds per game. Look at him his last 10, around 4.5. Look at his minutes. He's averaging around 27.6 minutes. So he's been dealing with injuries as well. You can see his minutes kind of coming back. So around 27.6 minutes his last game. I'm looking for a very competitive game tonight versus Detroit, so I'm expecting him to play his full allotment of minutes. Full allotment of minutes, this 4 line is very, very low. So we can come over here, and we're going to filter this, because you kind of got to filter it. So we're going to put him at, I'm going to put him at 25 to 29 minutes, in that little range right there. And you look at that range of numbers for the season, and he's cashed it 15 of 18 games with a 4.89 average rebound per game. So a lot of these games is going over. Some of these games is getting 7 to 8. So he does have a lot of chances here. And I think that number is pretty low for Champagne. So let's pull him up. Obviously, you can't compare these two just by themselves because they're both from the Spurs. But look at his 3.5 boards. You got a 1.46x. So it's not a bad line. Now, if you look at his assist line is going to be 2 for a 2.3x. You can look at his rebounds and assist line. 5.5 for RA at a 1.78x. So if you want to run that, I don't dislike that play at all. I'm probably going to play a few slips and kind of sprinkle it around on Champagne because 5.5 rebounds and assists is not a lot. We just saw a lot of games where he's getting 7 and 8 boards. So look at 5.5 rebounds. We're going to put him at that same minute, 25 to 28 minutes. I think that's about where he plays. And you can see he's catched at 7 of 13 games, averages 6.15. And you can see most of his RA is going to be from boards. He doesn't get a ton of assists, which is why his line is a 2.3x at 1.5. But take a look at these games. 2 assists, 2 assists, 2 assists, 2 assists, 3 assists, 3 assists. Potential assists, 2.3. Some of these games are getting 4 to 3. So if he's playing decent minutes, the assist line is not bad either, which is why I'm kind of looking at a lot of Champagne lines because 5.5 rebounds and assists is not bad. He's catched it 4 straight games. Look at him his game back from the only game he's played this amount of minutes. Since being back, he had 3 assists and 4 rebounds, so played very good versus the Kings. Now, it's going to be a tougher game. Obviously, it's going to be a very good defense played by Detroit, so if you don't like 5.5, don't take it. I think that's a good line. I think 3.5 boards is probably, and we just lost more value on Castle. As you can see, I hover it, and it's going to continue to go down. That's just what they do to me. But anyways, Champagne at 3.5 rebounds is obviously probably my favorite of the 3 picks. But you look at his 5.5 or 2 assists, for a 2.3x, and that value is crazy good, man. And I'm gonna pull up his assist line real quick so we can look at it. But 2 assists plus 170 odds if you run it on Sportsbook. That's gonna be the best value you get over on, I think, what is that, Bet MGM. So you can play it there if you wanted to. But you look at him, he's catched it 42% of games. So for a 2.3x, is it really like hard to fathom that? Because we can put him at 25 to 28 minutes, or just put 29 or whatever. He's averaging 1.39 assists in his last 18 games, but he's averaging 2.6 potential assists. A couple of these games, he's got way more, so 4 to 10. So it really just depends how many opportunities he has. He's not a star player or anything by any means, but I do think he can catch this line. If you look at his head-to-head versus Detroit, one of his 2 games, he had 1 assist in 2 games. And look at his minutes on this. 22 minutes, and then 14 minutes, he had 1 assist. So I don't think it's undoable for him to give us 2 or 3 assists this game. So I'll probably be taking a risk here at 2.3x on 1 slip. But as of right now, my favorite play on this one's going to be the 3.5 rebounds. I think our man Champagne catches it. So that's going to be the second pick from this game. We're going to jump over to the other side. We're going to look at the Pistons side of things now for the next couple plays. The first pick from the Pistons I like is going to be for Tobias Harris. Now, I like Tobias Harris to give us 11.5 points. Now, this is a pretty sweaty prop, or it can be. You look at Tobias Harris, he's catched his 56% of games on the season. You look at his last 10 games, he's averaging 14 points per game on the last 10. Now, you look at his shot attempts, he's averaging 11.2 field goal attempts. Since being back from the break, he had 16, he had 14 in his last 2 games. 3-point attempts, he had 5 threes in both of these last 2 games, and he averages around 3 free throws. Doesn't get a whole lot of free throws, but the man has been putting up a decent amount of number. 11 field goal attempts with 4 threes in his last 10. I'm willing to take a chance for 12 points if you just want to pick from the Detroit side of things. Like I said, I'm kind of looking at more role players than the stars in this game. Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham can definitely pop off, but it would not surprise me if Alcer or Tobias or somebody just come out here and had a better game than usual. Head-to-head versus the Spurs, he had a pretty good success last year versus the Spurs. 22 points and 15 points in the 2 games and only 10 field goal attempts. So didn't put up very big numbers, but he did put up a lot of what do you have, free throws here? You have 4 free throws, and then he hit 3 for 5 on his 3-point attempts. So shot very well. He played 29 minutes on average in those games. Look at his last 10. He's averaging 30 minutes, so he's playing big minutes. 11.5 points for 30 minutes of playtime is not that many. 11.5 points is not that many points. Yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say. But anyways, if you want to take a chance on Tobias Harris, I don't think this is a bad play at all. 11.5 points is going to be a 1.3x. This right here would give you a 2.3x if you played these together. Am I saying play these together? Probably not. I'd probably just remove Castle or something to play the 1.84x. But if you want to play the other one, you could. So Castle, if we add him back on here, we will. There's your 2.3x, so $250 would win us $585 if we ran this slip. So let's go ahead and pull up our last play from this game. The last play from this game I like is going to be for our man Jalen Duren. And I'm taking Jalen Duren for 2 assists as well. Now, this is a play that could be slightly sweaty. I like Jalen Duren for 2 assists because of the amount of assists that he's been putting up. So he's putting up 1.76 per game on the season, which isn't a lot. You look at his last 10 games, and he's averaging 3.4 potential assists. A lot of these games, 6, 6, and 5. So he's been facilitating. They just haven't been making shots. Then you look at his minutes. He's averaging 25 minutes per game over his last 10. Obviously, he's been dealing with injuries. Dude played almost 30 minutes his last game versus the Bulls. If you think he played 30 minutes versus the Bulls and is not going to play that amount of time versus the Spurs, I feel like you're wrong. Isaiah Stewart being sitting obviously leads to more uses for Duren as well. I like the odds here. I like the odds here for Jalen Duren to give us 2 assists. Head-to-head data, he had 7 and he had 5 assists in his last 2 games versus the Spurs. So the head-to-head data is crazy good. He had 4. It says 4.5 potential assists. I don't know if it just counts the misses or what. But anyways, lots of opportunity here for Duren to give us 2 assists. Like I said, you got Wemby on him. It's a big man. He might be able to get rid of the ball, might be able to get the ball to the rim. Who knows? But I do think Jalen Duren has a tougher game here, matchup-wise. Spurs assist defense is one of the worst in the league to the center position. They give up 4.4 assists to the center position per game. So very, very good matchup for Jalen Duren at 2 assists. I don't dislike this play at all. So let's pull it up. Jalen Duren. They do have him boosted at 9.5 boards. Like I said, these 2 guys, Wemby and Jalen Duren, are not somebody that I trust against each other for rebounds. They could both get 15, and they could both get 5. So it really just depends. So I'm probably gonna fade that one. But 1.5 assists right here, 1.47x puts it at a 3.5x, and you guys can mix and match these as you like. If you want to play Harris with Castle and then Duren with Champagnie or whatever you want to do, you can mix and match these. We'll lock in 2 slips here in just a minute. But those are the 4 plays from this game that I'm liking the most right now. So if you want to go with a different play for Champagnie, I don't think that's bad. 5.5 RA is not a bad play in my personal opinion, and neither is 1.5 assists. And we could run the assist with the assist, but I like the Duren assist quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. But anyways, those are the 4 picks. Let's go ahead and jump into Game 2 on the slate. So Game 2, we have the Kings versus the Grizzlies. Right now, Memphis is -157. Favorites at home, a 3.5 spread, 233.5 total on this game. So a pretty high-scoring game, and a game that can honestly go either way. 51% of the money is going to be on Memphis. 52% is going to be on the Grizzlies, covering 3.5. And then you got a 50-50 split down the middle on the over-under on the total. So first question of the day, I guess for free VIP. I want you guys to let me know down in the comments what you think the final score for the Pistons versus the Spurs is. So that's going to be the question for free VIP. You go answer that question. If you're answering the question, don't put Spurs versus Pistons. Just give me the total and then whatever else you want your comment to say. Okay? So just make sure it's in there included. You can say 130, 110, whatever, and then say whatever you want to say. But don't say like, for the Pistons versus the Spurs, I think the total is going to be, because then it's just going to give away. It's going to give away the question if you catch my drift. So, anyways, let's talk about this Memphis game. So far this season, neither team looking like powerhouses. You got the Kings winning 21% of the games, and you got the Grizzlies winning 38%. Grizzlies beat the Jazz the other day. They just lost to Miami. Those are the 2 games back from the break, whereas the Kings have lost both games back, getting blown out by Orlando, then getting beat by 17 versus the Spurs. They actually put up a fight versus the Spurs, which I'm surprised about. Head-to-head matchup, the Grizzlies have had the Spurs number, or the Kings number, I mean. Grizzlies beat them the last game, beat them. They played 3 times this season. They beat them all 3 games. One game was a blowout win, a 40-point win. The other game was a 8-point win, and the game after that was a 4-point win. So the Kings have kind of crept back in every game. Like, they get a little bit closer. But 2 of the 3 games were on the road. None of these games have been at home other than the game where Memphis beat them by 40. So it's kind of like, it seems like Memphis might be their kryptonite. The Grizzlies are playing at home again today. Obviously, the Grizzlies don't have Ja Morant. They're missing so many players. Missing Morant, Zach Edey, Coward's out, Brandon Clark's out, Aldama's out, Kyle Anderson is out. They traded Jaren Jackson Jr., so this Memphis team is not that strong. Whereas the Kings, missing Cardwell, missing DeAndre Hunter, missing Zach LaVine, and missing Sabonis. So starting 5-wise, I honestly think the Kings have the better team. When it gets down to the bench, I feel like the Kings might have just as good of a bench. So it's very. Memphis has been very good versus the Kings, but the Kings in this matchup at plus 156, I'm kind of leaning the Kings here. So I'm probably going to run Kings money line today. I'm probably going to put a full unit on it, to be honest with you, because I think they're going to come out here and win. In terms of player props for this, I do like our man Reynaud. Maxime Reynaud, obviously, is going to be their starting center for this game. He had a pretty good game his last couple of games back. So there's 2 plays I like for him. I like his rebounds and I like his PRA. So if you look at his PRA, His line's going to be 27.5. I like it at 24.5. That's what I would buy it down to. So at 24.5 PRA. We got to look at his last 5 because you have to look at the amount of minutes he's playing now. We'll look at it last 10. We'll look at last 10 and look at the minutes. So looking at minutes, averages 28.3 minutes over his last 10 games. Kind of see where he's been playing. So versus Orlando, he played 39 minutes, and versus the Spurs, he played 26 minutes. So his minutes are kind of all over the place. If he gives us 30-plus minutes, I'm pretty sure he cashes this line fairly easy. He had 31 and 35 in his last 2 games. Give him big minutes, and the dude plays pretty dang well. We're going to set his minutes to, I'm just going to put him at 29. I'm not saying he's going to get 29 minutes, but at 29 minutes, he's cashed this almost 70% of games, so 28.77 is his average on PRA, so 24.5 is very low. It's a pretty good matchup for him. Looking at the matchup versus Memphis, Memphis is a team that gives up more stats than about any other team. They're bottom 10 in the league in points, rebounds, and assists. Go to the center position, middle of the pack for points and rebounds, but they give up a ton of assists. So PRA is a good line here. His rebound line at 9.5 is not a bad line either. So you can look at Reynald at 9.5 boards. Last 5 games, you can see the two. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at since the break to see how the team's been tanking. He had 14 and 12 rebounds in his last 2 games. One of those versus the Magic, which is a tough rebounding team, and then the Spurs is obviously the Spurs. So getting 12 boards on the Spurs is another good game. So versus Memphis, I don't see how he doesn't give us 10 boards. Obviously, we're gambling, so he could give us 3 boards. That could definitely happen. But I do like his line here at 9.5 rebounds, or I like him at 24.5 PRA, depending on how much you want to risk it. So it's a 1.3x for 24.5 PRA. It is a 1.46x if you run his rebounds. So rebounds is going to be the better play. If we play this in a 5-man, we have a 5x already locked in for this one. The only other play that I'm going to run on this slate in terms of player props is going to be for our man, Jalen Wells. So I'm taking Wells. I'm going to take him for 11.5 points. So his line's 14.5. You can play it there if you want. He's not putting up enough volume for me to want to play him at 14.5. But if you look at his last 10 games, 7 of his last 10 he's cashed, averaging 14.5 points. He just dropped 25 points on Miami. This is another game that's a pretty high scoring total. He averages 10.5 field goal attempts. Now, once again, since the break, the 2 games, he has 14, he has 13 field goal attempts. 13 and 14 field goal attempts at 11.5 points is a very, very good line. So I do really like this play. I do think that when you're putting up, he had 9 threes versus the Jazz. So he's putting up big numbers. 11.5 points is nothing. 14.5, I really think he can cash. On the season, he's averaging 12 points per game, at hitting this 54% of the time. Head-to-head versus the Kings, he's been balling versus the Kings as well. So I do expect Jalen Wells to be one of the lead scorers. Obviously, you can look at Ty Jerome. Jerome's been playing decent as well, and he's actually a promo over here on Parlay Play. I don't love this line at 17.5, but he can definitely cash it. I may end up taking a chance on it. But Wells, like I said, I like Wells a lot. So Wells right now at 11.5 points at 1.3x. We can play it with Reynald, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do this. So let's go ahead and run. I'm going to run these as game stacks, I think. And if you don't want to pair them the way I pair them, you obviously pair them the way that you want. But 9.5 boards just gives us a 1.84x, 24.5 PRA. If we took Wells, the 14.5 points. I think I'm going to play it with the rebounds. Play it with the rebounds right here, and that'll give us a 1.84x. So Jalen Wells right there. I'll probably run Wells at 14.5 points too. There's not a whole lot to bet on, so I'll probably play that. So we're going to run this one. Locked in live. And I might run it back. What's Wells at 14.5? It's a 1.9x. Pretty good value. I'm going to, this is not going to be on video. Underdog has very, very good value when you play 2 picks for their original lines. So like 14.5 here. It would end up being a 3.5x on Underdog if you played it with another play. So I'm going to test it on Underdog before I lock it in. I'm not going to lock this in live, but I do like Jalen Wells for 15 points as well if you want to play that one. So that's going to be slip number 1 you guys just saw. I guess we'll go ahead and lock in a slip with, let's see, we'll do Castle for 11 points. We're going to lock it in with Champagne. We're going to put him at 3.5 rebounds. And then we'll run it with, was it Harris or Duren? Let's see what we can make here with these 2 plays. Because we had Duren assist. This gives us a 2.5x. If we played these to 1.71, I can't play that together. Castle, and I'm doing this live because, or not Castle, but Champagne. Let's see here. We could run the boards with Champagne. That gives us a double up. So we can play that. Jalen Duren with 1.5 assists. If I were to play this, can I play Castle with Tobias? I don't think I can I? I think the way that I have to do this is Yeah, that's not going to be for sure unless you play Castle at a higher line. But honestly, Castle at 14 points is really any worse than 11.5. It's not much. It's just one more bucket. So maybe that's worth taking. The value difference for one bucket is crazy. And I'm telling you, hear me out on this. You see the value at Stephon Castle right now? It's a 1.22x. It was a 1.36x when I first hovered this when I was researching before I made this video. So they have brought it down 0.14x on me. So that's why this gap is so large. This should be like a 1.4x or something based off of the odds here at a 1 point. So right now, this is definitely the better play, playing it at 14.5. But if you're going to play at 13.5, if you're going to play it at 13.5, you might as well play an underdog and get that 3.5x. So maybe we fade the Castle play and play like, I could do a 3-man with Duren with his assists with Champagne as well. We could take Champagne for 2 boards and play this. I could do that. Just play the 2.5 rebounds. If you wanted to risk it at 2.5 or 2 assists, that would put you at a 4.4x, which, man, this slip does not look bad to me. I don't think this slip looks bad at all. So you can run that if you want. But I'm going to take Champagne for 3 boards. I think that should be a good line instead of playing the 4.5 or 3.5. I mean, if you want to play 3.5, you can. But for this slip to hit my double up, I don't need it. So you got 2 plays right here, Duren and Tobias, and then Champagne. So I'm going to run that. Those are going to be the slips I lock in. I just gave you guys all kinds of opportunities to make slips you want. If you don't want to play these picks, just fade them, guys, if you don't like them. But that's what we got locked in. Tobias Harris, Julian Champagne, Jalen Duren. Then you got Jalen Wells with Maxime Renaud. Lock them in if you like them. Fade them if you don't. Let's go ahead and talk about this last game on the slate. So the last game on the slate we're going to have is going to be the Jazz versus the Rockets. This is the game that I'm personally fading. Houston should win this game. It's minus 650. They're minus 650 favorites at home. Most of the money is going to be on the Rockets. The 13.5 spread, if you want to play Jazz plus 13.5, I don't think you're stupid. 228.5 total. Right now, this game for me is the Jazz have just been tanking so bad, man. Markkanen doesn't get big minutes. Keontae George is questionable. Jaren Jackson's out for season. Kessler's out for season. Nurkic is out. Like they're just missing so much. Houston's almost fully healthy. Like you don't have to worry about too much from Houston. And they're playing at home, coming off of a close game versus the Knicks where they lost. So in a game they should have won. A game that I thought that Knicks had lost, and I had Knicks money line. But anyways, if the Jazz keep this close, this will be a gold mine for player props in my opinion. If this game goes as expected, this is just going to be a blowout. So I'm not touching this game. That's why I had all my slips locked in already from the previous 2. These 2 games are very competitive, and I do like these games to bet on, whereas the Jazz, not so much. So that's what I got for today, guys. 3-game slate. Hard to put money on these, I know. If you like to play, like I said, once again, lock them in. If you don't, just fade them. I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys cash everything. Would love to have you in the Discord if you're not already. Would love to have you guys follow on Instagram if you're not. If you please go do that for me, that'd be awesome. Make sure you guys are subscribed once again, and I'll see y'all in the next video.